Once in a while, on a dimly moonlit night, Otter would lie on his blanket and listen to the soft crackles of the low dying campfire. He'd think upon the lights dotting the dark sky and imagine all sorts of different ideas of what they could be. He'd manage to outgrow, beyond the sleepless nights of wondering what creatures and dangers lay just beyond the soft fire's glow, trusting in the fact that he'd made it alive this far, and the rhythmic breathing of his big brother who slept peacefully just a couple of yards away. He'd grown accustomed to certain dangers, hardened by these weeks on the road. Sometimes he'd very quietly practice some of the new words he'd picked up in the settlements and strangers they'd met along the way, or the ones Ollie would mutter under his breath during challenging times. That's not to say he lost all fear and reason, and could get lost in gumdrop and lollipop dreams. He did still start at every noise not recognized, and his heart skipped enough beats to fill a song. But a usual night consisted of storytelling, campfire smoke, and roasted, well, whatever they could find to roast, or handfuls of the desert berries. So many nights bundled near the fire in the quiet of the dark, his thoughts drifted to the farm, wondering what was happening there. Was it almost time to harvest? How was Orla handling the kids? He'd think of his mother, if she was somewhere watching him. He'd think of his long-lost father. Would he recognize him when, if, they find him? Also, in his thoughts, Lily, the girl who inspires him like no other has ever done. He missed her. He missed them all. Often he'd fall asleep with heavy lids and a dull dark in his mind, only to be peacefully awoken a few hours later by Ollie's large boot kicking him in the backside. This is not one of those nights.
Holy golly, Ollie, what are these?
Get on top of Daisy, Otter. I've run into these things before. They're soup.
Huh?
Scorpions of unusual persuasion. Giant scorpions that are great as a soup base. Watch their tails. We must have set up camp right on a nest.
Oh, crap. What do we do?
Stay on top of Daisy and kick off any that climb up.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna save the day, kid. That's what I do.
Ollie jumps to a large group of rocks, trying to lead the soup his way. He grabs a large, heavy stick. He starts smashing the soup with big, heavy blows.
Swing away, Ollie! Swing away!
And swing away he does. Ollie does damage to the creatures with the stick and with his boots, smashing, stomping, and thrashing.
There's one behind you!
Ollie whirls in time to catch the small monster and with his bare hands rips it in two, then hurls each piece of the limp hard body at two more, knocking them off course.
There's one behind you too, kid.
Yeah! Get away from me, you dirty poop stain!
Otter, with all of his might, gives the soup a swift and powerful kick. Unfortunately, it launched into Ollie's direction. Fortunately, Ollie was ready and hit a home run back towards Otter, splattering him with guts and limbs and parts undeterminable.
Awesome, kid. Do it again.
Sure enough, Otter does it again, and then again, each time teeing up his big brother easily. Otter smiles. Ollie notices.
Don't get cocky, kid. We're not through this yet. Look there.
Approaching the brother's position is the biggest soup Ollie's ever seen. He screams a war cry so powerful Otter even shudders. Ollie hops down from the rocks, his eyes never leaving the enemy. They circle each other, face to, well, claws. A slow-moving dance that promises only violence at the end of the song. The animal jabs with its stinger and misses. Ollie jabs with his stick and connects. The creature recoils. It tries to catch any of Ollie's limbs with its claws. Ollie rolls right, then left. He gets back to his feet. The large creature moves rhythmically on 6 legs. Suddenly,
Ollie, look out!
Ollie quickly lowers, grabs at the ground, and throws a rock tagging another, smaller scorpion square in its head. He spins and smashes it in one deft maneuver.
Ah, yeah.
With Ollie's back turned and sensing a time to strike, the queen of the soup goes for a kill shot, striking at his large target with its giant stinger. The large man, fully aware, catches the living weapon and rips it from the beastly body. The scorpion writhes a moment or two and then stills.
Well, that was interesting. Otter, look around. See any more?
Golly, Ollie, I think we got them all.
That's great, kid. Good work.
Ah, gee, Ollie, you did all the work.
That's not true. I couldn't have done it without you.
Ah, thanks, bro.
Otter climbs down as Ollie looks around, shaking his head.
The good news is we're eating like kings tonight, and for a few nights more. The bad news is we're covered in scorpion guts.
And it stinks worse than our onion gas.
And that's how it is out here in the wasteland. Danger turns into fortune, even if that fortune is few and far between. The boys clean up the best they can, then as Otter fixes some dinner, Ollie collects the spoils of the battle, butchering and storing the edible parts of their foes.
Yeah, you sure it's safe to stay here tonight?
Yeah, that big one I'm guessing was the queen. Any more than would have scattered. We'll keep the fire hot and bright. Take turns keeping watch tonight. How's that soup coming?
I think it's done.
How's it taste?
Not bad. Could use some salt or something.
The big brother comes over to the pot, musses his younger brother's hair, and takes a taste from the wooden spoon.
Not bad. It's delicious. I think you found your calling, Otter. Chef Otter.
Ah, golly, Ollie.
Slightly embarrassed,
What's a chef?
Some kind of special cook from back in the old days. Seriously though, kid, you did really well today. You've come into your own these past few months on the road, and I'm proud of you.
Otter feels the heat inside of his cheeks as they turn red, but he also feels the pride in the words of his big brother. The next morning, the boys pack up their precious Daisy and hit the dusty road. They're backtracking a bit, back to an area Ollie is sure some sort of town is. He'd noticed bright lights in the dark desert sky, the kind of lights that can only mean one thing, a settlement.
Kid, listen to me, we're headed for a settlement. It might be like others we've encountered, where people were decent. Then again, it could be a problem. We need to expect danger and be prepared.
I know, Ollie. You give this speech every time we go to a new place.
Just gotta make sure we get in, get what we need, and get out in one piece, Otter.
I got it.
Ollie instinctively pulls into a side road, heading in the direction of where he'd seen the light. They pass through a tight canyon, just wide enough for Daisy to fit through. Ollie has a sudden feeling they are being watched. He scans his mirrors and then the horizon. He thinks about dropping into reverse and getting back out onto the main road, but is able to overpower the urge and continues on. He doesn't see him, but a menacing presence is up on that cliff of the canyon wall looking down on them. Ollie presses his foot harder on the accelerator, and Daisy pushes hard between the rock walls, kicking up a load of dust behind them. Watching them from high ground, this particular evil is in an old ice cream van wearing a painted face and itching to cause some mayhem. The clown smiles. He can wait for his opportunity. His prey will have to head back to the main road sooner or later. He doesn't have much humanity in him, but he does have patience. He slowly starts the van and moves the vehicle to position himself. On the other side of the canyon, their journey brings them to a town, a twisted version of civilization where danger lurks around every corner. On the outskirts of town, like rings in a tree, are shanties made out of every conceivable material. Scrap wood, twisted metal, plastic sheets. Mostly they are dugouts carved into the hard earth. There are people milling about, talking with each other, working, but everyone stops as the boys drive into town to look at the new strangers in their midst. The brothers have seen places like this before, but are always cautious in new surroundings. They drive closer to the center of town and realize there is a marketplace and what looks like saloons and diners amongst the various vendors selling all sorts of wares.
We're here. Keep your wits about you, Otter. This place is rough.
As they park, Otter spies a man with one arm and no teeth smile and wink at him. The man is holding what appears to be an old baby doll of some sort.
Yeah, right, Ollie.
Just stay focused, stay close. We'll get our business done and make like a tree.
Ollie hits the several kill switches on Daisy before they step out into the bright day.
Let's do it.
The brothers step into a chaotic world of barter, trade, and danger. There are maybe 100 people around just this area alone, buyers and sellers, as well as those milling about. Merchants peddling their wares, scavengers lurking in the shadows, folks just watching everybody else. There's a heavy scent of people around, that sweat, breath, and body odor smell that comes with a large gathering. Mix into that the scent of some strange meat smoke from the cooking fires. But there is an air of ease, like everything is as it should be, which puts the brothers' minds a bit more calm. Ollie senses no real danger.
Whoa, check out that guy with a mechanical arm. And is that a two-headed goat?
Ollie realizes that they are the center of attention, drawing lots of eyes.
Hey, keep it down. We don't want to draw too much attention.
A few steps into the marketplace, a man, kindly looking, approaches the brothers with a genuine smile.
Hello there, boys. Welcome to Guttown. Haven't seen you around here before. What brings you into our humble town?
Guttown?
On account of everyone gutting it out. Used to be called Taintside.
Huh?
You know, like taint so bad. Then we found out that it kind of was that bad.
Yeah, we're just passing through. Have some things to trade.
Well then, I'm your man. Tell me, what do you trade in?
We had a run-in with some giant scorpions at our camp. Have a trunk full of meat.
Fresh?
Yeah, just last night.
We whooped him good, mister.
Well, boys, I can't guarantee I'm going to give you the best price, but I'm going to be the easiest. And I can take it all off your hands. Scorpion meat around these parts is a welcome sight and usually gets a good trade value.
Yeah? All right. Sounds good.
Excellent. What are you looking to trade for? Food? Booze? Water? Fuel? Women? A bath? You boys smell like 1,000 miles of hard road and farts.
No, none of that. Mostly some tools, maybe some parts for the car. A new nut from my brother here.
Perfect. I own the hardware store too, and I can get you exactly what you need. Let's get a look at what you got and get you unloaded.
The three together walk back to Daisy, and Otter pops the storage compartment. The vendor smiles when he sees the tasty treasure inside.
Yes, this will do. Well done, boys. Well done. This will make a lot of full bellies. Why don't you go up to the hardware store and get what you need while your brother and I carry this all up to the market?
Ollie looks over to Otter questioningly. Otter understands and nods. Otter knows his brother doesn't like splitting up, but also knows they can cut their time in this town in half by doing so.
All right, Otter. You help the man, then back here and wait for me. I won't be long, and you know what to do if there's trouble.
Yeah, I'm on it.
The vendor scribbles something on a scrap of paper and hands it to Ollie.
Take this and give it to the clerk at the hardware store. It'll let him know that you can pretty much take whatever you can carry. It's just right up around the bend there, not too far. Don't worry about your brother. He's in good hands. I promise.
He'd better be.
Ollie's eyes convey to the man what might happen to him should something befall Otter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He'll be just fine. Like he's my own brother.
They split up as Ollie heads up the road, past the hustle and bustle of Guttown. Vendors and customers bumping about, cook stove smoke filling the air, and blacksmith hammers pounding rhythms. various merchants holding out samples of their wares towards him as he walks past. Plenty of things to choose from: foodstuff, cooked and uncooked, clothing and fabric, tool merchants, and junk dealers of all sorts. A man is tossed out the front door and down the steps of a saloon right in front of him by a couple of toughs. He thinks they must be bouncers.
Come back here when you've got more to spend. Otherwise, stay out.
Ollie picks the man up and helps him to the stairs, sitting him against a post.
You ought to be more careful, mister.
Meanwhile, Otter and the vendor are making a few trips back and forth to the vendor's stores.
Where do you and your brother hail from?
Back east.
What brings you out this way?
We're looking for our father. His name is Orville. He went west a while ago. Maybe you've seen him? Maybe he's come this way?
Maybe so, maybe so. I've seen quite a few people pass this way over the years. Some stay, but most move on. Orville, you say?
The man scratches his beard and his face shows he's thinking hard.
Orville, you say? There was a man with that name a few years back. He worked for me a bit before moving on. Skinny bloke. Brown hair, about your height. Don't remember much else.
Really? Did he say anything? Did he say where he was going?
No, sorry. He didn't have much to say. That's all I remember. I heard tell of more settlements further west. Could be headed up to one of those. Let's get that last load stored away. Your brother should be back soon.
The two grab the last load and carry it up with the rest and drop it.
Well, that's all of it. Good work, young sir. This will come in very handy and make a tidy profit. Hopefully your brother has found exactly what he's needed as well. Let's see if he's back.
They walk to the front of the building and both peer up the street. No sign of Ollie as yet.
Well, tell you what. Let's you and me head across the street to that saloon. Grab some lunch while we wait. They make a mean chili conrada over there. It'll practically blow your socks off.
Otter shoots a long look back up the street, focusing hard for the shape of his brother, but doesn't see him.
Yeah, I guess that sounds good. I could eat after carrying all that stuff. I can't wait to tell Ollie about Dad being here.
The two step into the dusty street and start angling their way across.
What's Rata?
Unbeknownst to Otter, he has caught the attention of a group of outlaws lurking nearby. They watched him and the vendor carrying packages up from Daisy. They also take a long look at the hot rod with a large amount of envy.
Look at that one. Easy pickings. Bet he's got something worth taking. Probably just got paid for whatever he gave that vendor. And that car. I want that car.
They keep their eye on Otter as he crosses and slips into the diner. On the other side of town, Ollie finds the hardware store. It's a large building, large for this town at least. It's falling apart, much like every other structure in this town, with one side seemingly sinking into the ground. He climbs the rickety stairs and pushes through the door, handing the paper to the clerk.
I was told I can get some stuff here.
The clerk reads the note.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. You go ahead and get whatever it is you need. We got plenty to choose from. Anything in particular you are looking for?
I'll know when I see it.
Yes, sir. The customer is always right. Please take a look around and let me know if you have any questions.
Ollie looks through the shelves, boxes, and piles of stuff. He has a feeling everything he could ever need is there, but finding it might be a problem. After half an hour or so, he has a handful of gears, ratchets, wrenches, and metal doodads.
Well, sir. Yes, that looks like a good haul there. Got everything you need?
Knife. I need a new knife. What do you got?
Got a few beauties right here. Yes, sir. Take your pick.
The clerk plops a box of about 15 blades of varying length and style onto his counter. Ollie examines them for a minute, then reaches down and pulls out one that is well crafted. It needs to be sharpened, but it is built right. He holds it up to the clerk's face.
Yeah.
Well done, sir. Let me give you a bag for this stuff. Make it easy to get where you're going.
Ollie nods as the clerk digs around behind the counter and brings up an old pink backpack. Ollie furrows his brow, but says nothing as he slips his parts and tools into the pack.
Well, it appears that our business is concluded. Please have a terrific day and come again.
Ollie steps out from the shop, back into the bright sunlight. He looks around and then heads down the creaking wooden stairs. He starts off down the street and notices them, one on each side of the path. He stops and stretches his neck, glancing behind him. Just as suspected, another one behind. He can sense their desperation, the lack of eye contact, the constant looking around. They are nervous, and it'll be their undoing. They'll come at him from three sides, and one will try to grab the bag. Ollie wraps the heavy pack strap around his wrist while moving his back towards a wall, taking away the three-sided advantage. The first one approaches.
Hey, mister, you got any...
Ollie doesn't wait for the rest of the sentence, his punch throwing the thug backwards onto his back. The second one, a few steps behind the first, lunges. Ollie picks it up, moving right, and with an extra push, the thug's head crashes through the clapboard wall. The third one, he pauses, maybe 8 steps away. Ollie stares him down for several seconds. The thug turns and runs, seeing what Ollie did to his friends and the odds not being in his favor, once no part of this large man. The first one, now back standing, seemingly a little unsteady on his feet, squares up. Ollie shakes his head.
Walk away, mister. I got nothing for you except pain.
The thug that went through the wall lifts his head and starts to push himself up before Ollie gives him a heavy kick in the mouth. The thug goes back down, losing consciousness. The first one comes again, this time getting the heavy backpack across the left side of his back. He goes down, flat, writhing on the ground. He's not getting back up.
I warned you. Find something else to do. Otherwise, remember how you're feeling right now.
A small crowd has gathered. They are silent as Ollie looks around at them. He slips the bag back over his shoulder and continues on his path. As he passes, the crowd erupts with chatter. He looks at his hand. His knuckles have some cuts. He spots a saloon about 25 yards up the road. He walks in. It goes quiet, and he feels the eyes of a dozen or so patrons inside. He walks up to the bar and looks at the bartender.
A shot.
The barkeep pours a clear liquid into a small, dirty glass. Ollie sniffs it. High alcohol content. He pours the fluid over his knuckles, then taps the glass twice on the counter. The bar patrons then continue their talking. The barkeep again fills his glass. This one he downs in one sharp swallow. He puts the glass down and looks over at the bartender. He reaches into the little pink satchel and pulls out a small wrench and holds it up. The bartender nods. Ollie places it on the counter and heads to the door. Outside, he takes a few steps towards his destination. A small child's cry cuts through the noise. He pauses. He's been gone a long time and should get back to Otter and Daisy. He can't. He needs to follow the cry. He heads in the direction of the child. He's got to check.